I'm sorry, Ed. What were you going to say, dude?
Do you think that would be a good agreement for me to use to slip on my on that contract, that assignment agreement to assign?
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at another case study where I do that exact thing. Okay, and it's a lease option. Okay, and I take a lease option and I just assign it off with that agreement right there. Okay, y'all ready for another case study? Let's jump into it. Okay, here it is. I showed this one a little bit last week, but I didn't get into the details. So let's take a look at this one. This is a lease option agreement for a deal it's a condo in Las Vegas last year. Okay. September 30th last year or something. I don't know. Anyway, you can see the lease payments here. $1,950 per month. Okay. $1,950. Security deposit amount $3,900.
We're not looking at your screen yet.
Yeah, we're not seeing him, Justin.
What? Oh my gosh! I wish you guys had hollered at me before I wasted all your time. All right, let me go back up to the top. All right, here's a lease option agreement for a condo I did in Las Vegas. I got to back up. Now, this is not the lease option agreement that's in your packet. Well, Justin, why did you use this one and not the one in your packet? Well, that's a great question. This deal was brought to me by a student in the club here, and they wanted to use this one. And like I always tell y'all, I'm not married to anything on this planet except for the Lord and for my wife. So I'm not married to these papers. We'll do whatever papers you want to do. If the seller will sign them, let's do them. So we did this one. All right. This is just a lease option agreement. You can see right here the address, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a condo. I showed you a picture last week. It's just a normal, ugly condo. September 1st, 2020. What does it look like when we were doing this? Lease payments, $1,950 per month. For 24 months. Security deposit amount $3,900 is what we're going to have to give the seller down. $3,900 to be held and dispersed for whatever. Okay. All right. And on. Just a basic lease option agreement. Just basic. Okay. Nothing exciting here. Okay. And you can see I signed it as the tenant. And the landlord, the property owner, signed it as landlord. Okay. I believe these were immigrants from India. Okay, I'm not sure, but I think so. Okay, so there's that. I got this deal under contract, so I started advertising it on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist in Nevada, in Las Vegas. Those two areas alone, just Facebook Marketplace listings, a Facebook Marketplace listing, and a Craigslist ad. I had quite a few tenant buyer prospects hit me up about this property address. It was over a dozen. One of them, if you remember, some of you were in the club long enough to remember me telling us when it happened. One of these people that responded was a soccer player for the Las Vegas Lights. He ended up not wanting the deal, but he ended up sending me to another guy who he said might want the deal. I was like, okay, whatever. Just connect me with the guy that wants the deal. Okay. So nice guy though. Nice guy, real nice guy. So the soccer player hooked me up with another gentleman named Steve. Okay. Follow the story here if you can. Steve said, yeah, I got a tenant buyer that would move in. I'm also a lease option guy. And so I can hook you up with a buyer. And I'm thinking, holy shit. The soccer player, now this guy, now another guy, like how many people, just where's the fucking guy that wants to buy the house? That's really what I want to know, right? Sorry for my language. But that's really how I was feeling. Like, again, all these deals that I ever do, there's a little something funny about them, or there's hair on them or something. It's not, they don't all fall into place like they're supposed to. So that's part of the gig. So anyway, I was like, okay, Steve, you got a buyer. You got a buyer. Okay, great. Then let me get a JV agreement with you. I'll forget about the soccer player guy. You take care of him or whatever. And then you bring a buyer and I'll JV with you. Okay. Okay. That's all square. I have to have those conversations too. If you're having conversations that are weird like that on these deals, I want you to know that you're not alone. Okay. It happens. It doesn't mean you're unprofessional. It just means that you're doing real estate. Okay. So you can see this is the JV agreement in my agreements packages. We just simply fill out the lines up here with who we are. Okay. And then you can see it says the introducing party is entitled to 50% of the success.
We don't see your screen, Justin.
Oh my gosh, LaShonda.
Oh my God. Get it together, buddy.
I know it. Anyway, I'm sorry. Here it is. This is the JV agreement in my package. Okay, so you can see we just filled it out at the top with who we are. You guys can just fill in the blanks. You guys know how to do that. There's nothing complicated there. And then here, it says right here is entitled to 50%. Referring party is entitled to 50% of any profits of any successfully closed deal. And now down here, it says this agreement is limited to this address. So I'm not entering into a JV agreement with this dude for every deal for all times and forever. Amen. Just this one property. Okay. And that's why this says this here. And you can see when I sent it to him on dot loop, I had him initial that section right there, just so make sure everybody's clear that this JV agreement is just for me and you on this one deal, right? It's not for the 5 years up here necessarily. It's just for this one right here. Okay. All right. So he signed it. And there we go. Now I got a JV partner who supposedly has a buyer, right? So next agreement I want to show you is this one. Then Steve sends me this. And he says, this is an application from the guy that I want to hook you up with. I'm like, okay, that means almost nothing to me, but let me look at it. I mean, that's our due diligence on this guy. Okay. I called Steve. Steve sold me on it. Okay. Steve said, yeah, this guy's solid. He's got $15,000 to put down. I said, okay. He only makes $5,000 a month, but he's got $15,000 to put down. So here you go, Ed. I sent him an assignment agreement and I put the tenant buyer's name on it as a signee. This is basically the same assignment agreement that's in the packet. It's a little different, but not much. Okay, you can see the seller's name is right here. The address. Now, therefore, non-refundable sum of $15K. Woo! Will be paid. Okay. Sounds good. I got the assignment agreement done. I had him put down $5,000 with the paperwork, and then he was going to pay the remainder of $10,000 when he moved in. And that worked out really well for me. Does anybody know why I needed that $5,000 down up front and then $10,000 when he moved in to total $15,000 assignment fee? Anybody know why I needed that $5,000 up front right now?
Why would the seller?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to lock him in. I want to know he's not going to flake out before move-in day, but also because I still owe $3,900 to my seller. Right? I owe $3,900 to my seller. So what happened is the seller, I told her, I said, hey, Renew, we've got somebody ready to come in. That was her name. We got somebody ready to move in and everything the first of the month. She said, well, we cannot guarantee the property to you unless you put the money down. I said, okay, well, instead of 3,900, can I give you 2,500 now and then 1,400 more when we move in, when the guy moves in? Okay, he's sending me $5,000. I don't want to send her 3,900. I just want to send her as little as I can right now. So I'm like, hey, if I send you 2,500 now, will that lock us in for 30 days and then we can start the first of next month? She's like, yeah, that'll work. So I sent her a check for $2,500, locked the property in. Okay. This guy, I had a little money left over. Then this guy on the effective date, the move-in day, he puts down another, get this, he puts down another $10,000, which totals his $15,000 option fee. But I had also told this guy that when you come to move in, I need the rest of the assignment fee. But the assignment fee just puts you in place of me on that on the contract, and I agreed to give the seller 3,900. So you need to bring an additional 3,900. Do y'all follow me? So it's 15,000, and then you're obligated for 3,900 to the seller. He said yes. That sounds fine. Blew my socks off. I was figuring he'd say, nah, man, that sounds like crazy shit. I'm putting 15,000 down. I'm not doing another 3,900. Do you know he didn't argue not one little bit? Another 3,900. So that means I recouped all of the 2,500 I sent the seller plus some.
Awesome.
And I assigned that deal with that. Okay, I'm not telling you to take my advice. I'm trying to illuminate you here. But here's a lease option agreement with the seller. Remember that? I showed that to you. Then I have a JV agreement with Steve. We didn't do My Smart Move. We didn't do any of the background screens. We didn't do anything. The guy said he had a whole pot full of money to give us, and we filled out the paperwork and assigned the deal with the owner's permission, and we walked away. Clean and simple. Clean and simple. Right? So that is a very streamlined lease options assignment deal. Okay. So let's take a look at another document here. Let me share the screen with you again, LaShonda. When the guy sent me the application and said he had 15 grand to put down, and the guy, I said, okay, he needs to put 5 down now, and then he can put 10 in when he moves in, plus the 3,900 that we owe the seller. The guy was like, oh yeah, that's all good. This is a 30-day notice that I sent the owner. Okay, because they wanted 30 days. They had another tenant still living in there. They had to get rid of that guy. He had agreed to move, though, so they weren't worried about it, but they needed to give him 30 days notice. So I had to write a letter. Once I locked that tenant buyer in for $5 grand, I had to wait 30 days to get that guy, the old guy, out so this new guy could get in. So I had to write a little letter and send it to the owner, and I put I put some money in here. I think it was 2,500 is what I put in here. Yeah. And you can see it says, thank you for the opportunity to work with you on this property. We have great news. Woo! Mr. Robert Earl Foreman will begin inhabiting the property on September 1st. At the time keys are exchanged, you will receive the $3,900. When she got this letter, though, she said, no, man, we're going to need some money now. So that's when I gave her the 2,500. Okay, I hope that's illuminating a little bit. Okay, hold on. What is this? Oh, that's that. Okay. And then we have Mr. You guys seeing this invoice? Okay, Steve sent me an invoice. Okay, for his part. Look at that. 5,000 to Steve. Steve brought a buyer and got paid $5,000. Okay, let me show you this one. That's the check from Robert Foreman, the tenant, for $15,000. So I didn't do too bad, really, did I?
No, Justin, I want to ask you. I must have missed the part. How did you make the extra? How did you get the end tenant buyer to pay out the extra $3,900 or whatever it was you said?
Yeah. It's just all on how you explain the deal to the guy. I explained the deal to him like this. I was like, hey, the option fee, the $15,000 that you put down is just the fee to buy the deal. Okay. Once you buy the deal, there's a requirement in the deal that you still owe $3,900 to the seller for deposits, security deposits, and all that stuff. So I'll need you to bring your security deposits and stuff in addition to this $15,000. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, no problem. That's what the guy said. Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So the security deposit and all that, was that like the first month's rent and deposit? Is that what that was? Okay.
Yeah, it was like, because the first month's rent and and then 1 month security, and all that. That was basically the $3,900. Yeah, and so we had him provide all that. That's shit. I mean, you're gonna be living there, man, not me. I'm not paying that. So I'll sell you this deal for $15,000, and then you can pay that. He was cool with it.
Got it.
I'm not saying all tenant buyers always will be, but I'm saying that one was, right? Okay.
Has that happened before where they're giving you a hard time getting that extra?
Yeah. Well, that's right. So, you should be running into that problem. You're digging deep when they run out of money, and that's good. That's where you wanted to be.
No more questions.